Welcome back to It Will Run. It's steering time. Dang it.
Got this thing started early tonight. You know we won't quit till we get it right. We've been jamming almost every day. We keep jamming 'cause there's no other way. We keep jamming. We keep jamming.
This is the drag link and tie rod from the F-150. This is from that front end that Grandpa and I got at the junkyard. And it's just regular stock 96 F-150 drag link and both outer tie rods. And I've had this mocked up repeatedly. I've had this under the van quite a bit actually to keep the wheels from turning opposite directions. I was kind of just using this just to hold the wheels straight. And I knew that the drag link was not long enough, so I was going to have to come up with a way to shorten the driver's side tie rod and lengthen the passenger side drag link in order to get this part of the drag link, to get the pitman arm to line up correctly, because this was sitting too far towards the passenger side this way. So when I was over at the junkyard getting this power distribution box, and the same van that I got the power distribution box off, it was a 2004 E250. Just looking at the drag link and everything, when I was taking the box out, I thought, you know what, that looks closer. For some reason, that drag link looks longer to me, just, you know, by memory. So I went ahead and took it off and then went up there to ask how much they wanted for it. He said 30 bucks. So I bought a 2004 E250 drag link tie rod ends. Just like this. I just dropped it right down from the van, just like it sits right here. So I'll show you everything. So basically, I'm not using anything from the 96 front end. I'm not using the tie rod ends. Oh, and as it turns out, even though this drag link and all this linkage is smaller diameter than the Econoline, all the ends are the same. The taper on the, I don't know, would this be called the shank or the ball shank of the tie rod ends and the pitman arm, they're all the same size. The Econoline E250, the F150, even though these are shaped different, this is the same size taper. So that worked out great. I don't have to do anything to these knuckles to get the Econoline tie rod ends to fit in the knuckles. So I'm not using anything that I can think of. I'm not using the pitman arm, the steering gear, the rag joint, the slip shaft, or the tie rods from the F-150. So I'm going to get all this off of screen and I'm going to show you everything that I'm getting ready to install, what I ended up with. This is the Econoline drag link and tie rod ends. Actually, it goes this way. There's a few things that make this better. Number one, it's just a few inches wider, or longer, I should say. The drag link is longer. Number two, this bend right here in the driver's side tie rod, right here, this bend is perfect. The one on the F-150 wasn't, and it was, all the linkage was staying too close to the cross member. This gets me away from the cross member. This slight twist right here on the drag link, this twist from here to here is perfect. I got lucky on this all the way around. It's just, I got home with this. As soon as I held it up underneath the van, I said, yes, this is what I need. Here I was thinking about making custom drag link and welding, and there wasn't a machine shop around that would even entertain helping me. As soon as I said steering, they said, no, please leave. So I'm not gonna have to cut, weld, extend, nothing in order to use this Econoline linkage. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to clean that up. Oh, and all the balls, the tie rod ends and the drag link that goes in the pitman arm, they're good. There's no slop in them whatsoever. The boots aren't torn. So I think I'm actually going to rock this for 30 bucks. I don't have to buy new. And if I do, it's going to be down the road. Maybe if they start to loosen up or something, or if I get a little slop in the tie rod ends. But otherwise, there ain't nothing wrong with that. Okay, so this is what we got. This is pretty much everything I'm using. Except, so I'm going to get rid of a few things that I'm not using. Cut this off. Not using that. That's the tilt function from a Prius, and that's where the steering wheel would connect. This is just an example. This isn't the piece I'm using, but this is the Thunderbird shaft from the steering column, the Thunderbird steering column. And I had to cut this little section off of here so I could do a mock inside the van, and this was too long. But this tells me what size that is. When I do finally cut it to the exact size, that's what I'm going to be dealing with. And I need to attach this, because this portion is a slip shaft that goes on there. So I'm going to bottom that out. That's going to slip all the way down to here. And then I'm going to come up with a coupler. I'm going to sleeve this, put a sleeve in here, and I'm going to join those like that. And that is, and then the steering wheel will be up here. So this is the steering wheel side of this Prius assist motor, electric assist. It won't be much longer than that because the steering wheel is just a little bit farther up. So this will be sitting in the van. Anybody that's watched car shows in the last 10 years on YouTube knows all about the Prius hack. This is the control box for it. This plugs in here like this. And then you give it big power. You give it 10 gauge, 40 amp power, constant, a big 10 gauge ground. And then you just give it switch to ignition. So when you turn the ignition on, it's activated, and then you have power steering. Normally, these are like $250 on eBay. And I got this for $150, and just waited for one to come around that, that had everything I needed and was cheaper than $250, and I found it. So that was just about 4 or 5 months ago I landed this. This here, this says made in the USA. This is a big coupler. Check that bad boy out. This is how I'm going to join the two columns. So I'm going to have this on here like that. And then my steering column, the Thunderbird steering column, is the same size, 1.5 inch outside diameter here. So I'm going to use this. The Thunderbird column will come into here. And the name of the company is 1802 Fabrication Company. This coupler here, this is a 17 millimeter. This goes on the Prius. I should have kept this over here. So now we're on the output side of the power assist. Steering wheel is on this side. This goes on here like that. And then this is 1 inch double D. So this is where this is a Borgeson 3/4 inch double D, and they call it double D because it's like 2 capital D's back to back. So D and then D. This side is 3/4 inch. This side is 1 inch. And then it's collapsible. So this slides in and out of here. Hopefully this will help me, this will prevent me from taking the steering wheel to my face if I ever hit something. This is Borgeson. This is made in the USA. The way you do this is you drill through one side. So I need to drill a hole in one side of this 1 inch double D. And then this set screw here goes through the center of it and then tightens down on the inside, so you only do a hole on one side. And then this one just butts up against the side of it. So that goes on there. This goes on here. Oh, I'm going to cut this shaft way down, by the way. I'm cutting this yeah, I'm wasting more of this than what I'm actually using. But this was the shortest. This is a 24 inch. This is the shortest one I could get. So I'm going to extend this almost all the way, bring it in a little bit, cut the end of it off, and then cut the end of this off. And then I'm hoping I can get at least 3 inches of collapsibility. So this 1 inch double D goes here to the Prius column, or to the Prius assist. You know, it's not going to be nearly this long. It can't be. I don't have that much room. Which brings us to this. This is a vibration dampening U-joint. This side is the 3/4 double D. So that goes on there like that. And then this is 29 3/4 inch 29 spline. This is Lair's 11256 steering gear, manual steering gear. And this is kind of like a universal pitman arm. You notice that, I don't know if you can see that or not, but this is the same size on both ends. So I need to ream this. I need to taper that to accept the drag link. But this is perfect. It fits right on the steering gear, which goes like this. So you notice, so you're at the steering wheel right now. Turn clockwise, right, and the pitman arm goes right because this is reverse rotation. So when you turn the input shaft clockwise, the output shaft turns counterclockwise. One thing that I'm disappointed about, this box is 6 turns lock to lock. So it's going to be 3 turns to make a sharp right-hand turn, 3 turns to make a sharp left-hand turn. And if I'm parallel parking, I'm going to be going 3 times and then back 6 times and then back 3 times. This is listed as a 3/4 inch 29 spline, 29 teeth. But this is listed as a 3/4 30 tooth spline. I'm going to make a template because there's one bolt that lines up with that gearbox. This top hole right here. This one actually works. It lines up, so I'm going to be able to use a long factory bolt and go through into here. But I'm going to have to do a plate on here. As you can see, this is rounded here. See this part of the body? It won't sit flat because of that part of the body. So I need some spacers in between here. And then I'm going to do a 3/16 plate. And then, so I'm going to bolt that plate to the van and then bolt this to the plate. With one bolt actually going through both and going into the gearbox. So I need to make a template and cut the steel that I got and drill the holes and everything and get it all ready to go in right here. Check it out. I got to pull this back out. I just welded those nuts to keep them on the plate, but this is working out really well. I just used grade 8 nuts as spacers because the spacers were so expensive and they didn't have the right width, so I was gonna have to cut them and then make them all identical. So I'm using those are 9/16 nuts with 7/16 bolts going through them. I gotta pull it out and paint it. But everything worked out. Got my alignment good. The input shaft is coming up at a good angle with the steering column. So I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna pull this out, back out, clean it, and then paint it. And then I can install this for the final time after the plate's painted. All right, peace. I'm gonna try my hand at drilling out this, or tapering this pitman arm. It's just the same on both sides. I don't remember him saying on the phone when I ordered this that I needed to drill it out myself or anything, but that drag link ball, I don't know what you call that portion. We'll say the passenger side inner tie rod, and just barely goes in there. I mean, there's more sticking out than in. So I'm gonna try my luck at drilling it without the drill press. Just see how the bit does. It's 7 degrees. So I'm gonna take in the tie rod ends are the same exact size as the inner on the drag link. So I can just use a tie rod end to judge when I've gone far enough. Like I said, I don't even know how well this is gonna cut. I mean, this might be too hard, and using a cordless drill is not the way to do it. Or it bites right away and it's not a problem whatsoever. See, can you see that? That's all the farther that goes in. It just barely gets started. Now, I mean, the cotter pin is exposed, so I could get that nut on there, but I want it sitting in at least that far. I'm gonna take it in until I'm almost out of threads. Probably should put some cutting oil on there or something. I just want to see how this does here. Oh yeah, big dog likes to eat. Yep. That's good. So you can see there's just a little bit left that I didn't ream out from the factory cut. I don't think I'm gonna paint this. I'm gonna leave that sticker on there so at least there's a part number on there, and it's covered in some like industrial tape, so I think that'll hang on. But I guess I'll always have this video. Okay, I've got this plate basically done. I primed it earlier. I've got 2 coats of primer on it and let them dry out in the sun, and they came out really well. But then I painted this I painted one side 4 hours ago and I painted the other side 2 hours ago. And now it's gotten cold and it's not drying. I got a bunch of runs in it, but I mean, the black is just to make it look finished, but I'm getting fingerprints all over it. See that? But it's protected though. That's the main thing, is it's not gonna rust. So I need to attach this plate to the steering gear first, and that goes like a, see, that's the bottom, that's the bottom, this is the one they share. Should go like this. Yep, that's the one they share. So I don't put a bolt in that one, but put bolts in these. I did have these are all 7/16 by the way, 7/16 bolt, and it's all, I'm using all grade 8. The original bolts for the Econoline were also 7/16. The F150 was 7/16, and this steering gear that I ordered, this Layers gear, is also 7/16. I was using these shorter ones, but I think I might use these longer ones because the shorter ones were just barely making their way through the gear. And if I have room, I'd like a little bit of thread sticking out, so I've got full engagement. I just need to make sure that they're not too long because these aren't fully threaded. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Yep, I'll use the longer ones. Well, it does say it's a gel, but this is like really jelly. Yeah, it's not like it'll make it loosen if it is bad. It just won't lock it, I guess. This is curdy. I don't think it's good anymore. I'll use it on the long bolts also that go through the frame into the plate. Man, those are pretty tight. Okay. See, there's quite a bit of thread sticking through there. But the shorter ones, the next size down, because these came in increments, 1/2 inch increments instead of 1/4 inch increments, the 1/2 inch shorter obviously was stopping inside the threads there. Okay, I'll take this one out of here now. Now it's time to muscle this in here. The only way it goes in is from the top. I can't get it in from the bottom with the pitman arm on there. It's not pretty. I scratch stuff up when I'm doing it. Goes in like this. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. Yep, scratch. Scratch. Now it needs turned. Now it needs turned. Now I just need to turn it. Just turn it. Turn it. Okay. Scratch. Gouge. Yep. Dent. Scratch. Okay. Nice and easy. Let that sit like that. Get my Loctite curd. Ooh, scratch. Probably easiest to do this bottom one first. I can't see the other one. Okay, got that one. That one. Now for that long one that goes all the way through. Nice. That sucker just went right in there. That's tight, 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 tight. All right. Actually getting somewhere here. Can't get on that top one, I don't think. Okay. I like it. I like it. Oh. Man, I can't believe the gearbox is in. This has been such a long time coming. Spent so many hours thinking about this and wondering how it was going to work and being worried about it. See if I just lift up on the steering column a little. It's dead on. And this won't be so long here. I'm going to cut this all the way back here. And then this is where the Prius assist will sit here. And then just be a short slip shaft there from the bottom of the Prius assist down to the steering gear. I'm going to hook up the drag link to the pitman arm. Oh, it's looking pretty close. So what I did was I shortened, I cut 1 inch off of the the driver's side, so the left inner tie rod, I cut 1 inch off of it. I cut 1 inch off of the left outer tie rod. I've done nothing with the sleeve because that sleeve is not threaded all the way in. So I couldn't send either one of those all the way into the center of the sleeve. And I needed to shorten this side and extend the passenger side. So that's what I cleaned up the sleeves. I cut 2 inches off of this side. I've got them threaded all the way into that sleeve. So this is as short as it can be right now. The passenger side is not as long as it can be right now. Just want to see how they line up here. Wow. Man, life is good. I'm not going to draw it all the way in because I don't want to have to use a puller to get it back out of there. Okay, that's snug. Outer tie rod is snug. This one is snug. Okay, I'm gonna steer this thing. I'm just gonna put that coupler on there, that U-joint. I'm gonna turn it by hand. I won't be able to turn it very fast. Maybe if I put like a screwdriver in there or something, I can, or maybe I can't turn it at all. That's tough. Yeah, not gonna be able to do that with a screwdriver. I kind of thought with it being a 16-to-1, such a low ratio, I thought that I might be able to turn it with a screwdriver. But so all I gotta do is just, I'm gonna do like a makeshift alignment. Is that wheel turned a little? Yeah. All right. I don't know what I'm gonna do now. I think I'm gonna stare at it for a little while. I haven't actually cut anything yet. I'm just planning. I'm gonna cut the input shaft right here to get rid of some of this length. I don't have a lot to work with as far as the distance from the steering wheel. Well, I mean, I've got distance between the steering wheel and the mounting point of the column, but I really don't have any room from the mounting point down to the steering gear. So I've got to try to keep all this as compact as possible to keep the Prius power assist away from my feet up towards the steering wheel. And then I want that slip shaft, the actual steering shaft, that double D, I want it to be able to slip. So for safety, I got a piece of metal in my glove. That's the worst. Or in my hand. So I'm gonna cut the input shaft on the Prius column. I'm going to cut the actual column. I'm gonna weld this to here, cut that. I was kind of surprised inside of this steering column, the Thunderbird steering column. I thought that it was gonna be this 3/4 inch all the way up to the steering wheel. It's not. It's actually a double D, and then it goes round right here. So I need to cut this double D all the way up here, remove this section from this section here, and cut this here, and bring that whole section up into here. But for right now, I'm gonna do all this outside. Okay, I've got it kind of mounted in here. Just really the only thing holding it right now is that there, where the factory steering column mounts. The power steering is really sticking out farther than what I imagined. This is the cruise control unit. I still haven't fastened it up there yet. And then these little heat ducts here, heat tubes, you know, I left them long. They're gonna get cut up, and I'll make some kind of plate or something that holds them underneath there. So pay no attention to this, but see how that kind of protrudes. into the brake area right there. I don't like that. I'm gonna see if I can turn the whole motor to where this portion here, maybe if I turn it that way, that this portion will be alongside the brake pedal instead of this portion. But I really like the motor being tucked up where it's at. And obviously I can still get to the brakes. Really just don't like it protruding out into that area. And my, look how short this steering shaft ended up here. What is that, like 3 inches? So I don't think I'm going to use that Borgeson. Man, I hate spending $80 for something that I'm going to use this much of. And it would literally be about that much. So I'd have to cut both shafts, and I guess at this point it's not really a slip shaft for safety. It's a slip shaft out of necessity to be able to get the coupler on there. Because I'm going to have to collapse the shaft in order to get the steering coupler on over the spline, and then, you know, as I'm putting it on there, extend that shaft back out again. So I might use, this is what I cut out of the Thunderbird column. This is from in here. This is 1 inch double D by 3/4 double D. So I might just use these. I'm not worried about strength because, I mean, such a small section like that, I don't have to worry about it flexing or anything. This is the coupler that goes on the, this is, oh, by the way, this is 11/16 36 spline that goes on the Prius. Man, it's gonna be tough. Look how far that almost touches the other coupler just to get it on there. I need that much space. Yeah, I'll be able to do that if I use that little short section. So I'm gonna loosen this collar here and spin this motor 80 degrees to the left. But then I'm gonna have this motor sticking out over here. I'm gonna have to get clever when it comes to building something under this. I'm gonna try to cover all this and kind of make her decorative, you know, like under the dash. I don't know what you'd call it. Cover to hide all this stuff. But the motor sticking straight up like it is right now is a lot easier to cover than if it's sticking out over here. But I'm gonna try it and see how it looks. I think I'm gonna redo it because of that motor sticking out like that. I'm gonna try to move it up, but it's all hooked up. That Prius assist was down too far, and the motor was just kind of hanging out here, and I couldn't think of a way that I was gonna cover that, because I've got this vent right here that I need to be able to access. So it's not like I can just come off the dash and then build something that comes over to the emergency brake over here. So I cut this out. I cut this out, and I'm gonna put this collar, I'm gonna weld this in here like this, and that way I can bring the union where the Thunderbird column meets the Prius assist. I can bring all that up. Otherwise, I was gonna have to choose this collar. This collar was either gonna have to be up here or down here. I can't put it up here because I can't cut that much off of the Thunderbird column. I'm running out of room to cut more off, and that was too much to do it that way, to bring it up here. So I'm gonna set this in like this. I might be able to tuck that motor all the way up under here. It's kind of hard to hold it and check. Yeah, I really want that up. Okay. Now I'm gonna fire up the welder and just tack this in 2 spots so I can manipulate it a little bit. The only thing worse than having no idea is having too many. I can think of about 4 different ways I want to do this, but a few of them are crossed off. As soon as I take one step, then I'm ruling out. I'm taking away the ability to do it a different way. I just cut this slip shaft down. This is what I ended up using out of a 24-inch shaft. And then I just welded a new stop in there because I see this channel here. That's for this stop that threads in here. And then that keeps this from being able to come completely out of there. So I just do a demonstration here. It stops, and then it's also keeps it from going in too far. That's fully in. Then but it's gonna ride at 6 inches, 6 1/4 technically. So right there, that's my fully extended. That's coupler to coupler. So I still have this much of the 3/4 inch square D inside of the 1 inch, about right here, so here. So I still got good engagement. I'm gonna slide this boot back over here. Oh, I'm gonna put some grease inside of here. Okay, I got the set screw put through the, you can kind of see it there, but so I've got this one tightened, I've got this one tightened, both jam nuts are tight. I'm gonna go put this portion, this is the 3/4 inch double D here, goes on the steering gear. And that's already got a provision in there for that set screw to sit in there and lock. Okay, this is where I stand now. There's the slip shaft. Vibration reducing U-joint coupler. Motor's somewhat visible there. If you can see the forest through the wires. So right now it's only being held by this collar right here. So today what I'm doing is I'm going to start stabilizing this more and come up with some ways to All right, I got the van on the alignment rack. I did the toe. I've got the radius arms all set. Got the jam nuts super tight. Just making sure that, because I did all this a year ago, so just kind of double checking my work. So both beams, and by setting these radius arms, kind of what I mean is I can't set the caster with these because I'm limited as far as the bag being straight. So what I did do though is I just made sure both beams are leaning back at the same angle, and these are both 2 degrees, tilted back 2 degrees. So I'm getting ready to do the camber. I'm gonna loosen the upper ball joints. I did both of those rear seals, those extra seals that I left out when I did all this. Okay, I went backwards in time a little bit here. Promised myself, and you, that I would take all this back apart and put the seal on that I forgot right here. It's kind of an oddball. It already has a wheel seal pressed in the back. And then this rides in there. There was one on there when I took it apart. I just forgot it when I put it all back together. There we go. So that's officially back on there again. I'm gonna put all this back together and then I'm aligning it. So I've got both of those done. I left the lockouts off so I would have a nice flat face here so I could do the toe. But I'm getting ready to loosen the upper ball joint, and it's got these bushings, these camber caster bushings, and I'm gonna loosen this, pound these up a little bit, get them to where I can turn them, and then I'm gonna set the camber. Mostly because when I drove this a few days ago, well, last weekend, Sunday and Monday, I had this on the road, and it was pulling major to the right. And I thought, well, number one, I thought, man, I thought I had the toe closer than that. Why didn't I catch that? And then I looked it up and just, said, can camber caster affect a vehicle pulling one way or the other? And it said, definitely camber. And I had positive camber on the passenger side, but negative camber on the driver's side. And the only way I could match them up was by bringing one bag up and one bag down. Basically changing the ride height on one side to get the... But unfortunately, I didn't adjust one bag and then take it for a ride to see if that was the major pulling or not, because I knew that I was going to be doing all this. So that's what I'm doing next, is just I'm going to do the camber. And then I'll go back and do the toe again, make sure the toe is all set. I'll show you how I did the caster the best that I could. I think I've got it evened out pretty well on both sides, but can you see that red mark right there? I can see the upper ball joint up top there, but I can't see the lower ball joint. So I just put a mark on there, and I've got the van completely level front to back, side to side right now. So what I do is just take this 3/8 round bar, line it up with the upper, my mark down there. It's 3.7. Yeah, actually, to be honest, I got this side at about 4 degrees, and the driver's side is 4.3 degrees. And that's as close as I could get it, doing it with the tools that I have, and without an alignment rack or anything. But it's closer than it was before. And then what I really focused on, because I felt like I did have everything I needed in order to do camber, and those were way off. The camber on this side was positive. So in other words, the top of the tire was out and the bottom of the tire was in. So it was turned like this. So I've spent a few hours just back and forth, side to side, making little adjustments. So right now, seems like something moved, but just 10 minutes ago, this was showing 1 degree. I wonder if the van settled or I lost some air in one of the bags or something, because I haven't tightened anything, loosened anything in the 10 minutes. So yeah, it looks like it's sitting at 0.3 degrees negative. I wonder if it matters if I put it this way. Yeah. See, it's 1 degree facing this direction. I don't know what the deal is with that. And that's negative, so the top of the wheel is in. That would be 0 there. If I bring the top, see? So it's 0.2 degrees negative. Point 0.5, 0.6, again, negative. What is going on? It's like this angle finder matters which side you have it on. There's no like dirt or anything on it. Is it possible that this $30 tool is not the highest quality? So they're both in negative right now. This is just changing, but they should be a lot closer than what they were. So before I button everything up, I'm gonna check the toe again, since I messed with the camber and caster. Make sure that the toe is still set, and then I'm gonna button everything back up. Okay, I just checked the toe again. It's good. The string doesn't do me any good right now because I've got the van leveled out. I pumped the rear bags up and brought the front end down, the back end up. I mean, it's still up on blocks, but but the front end is now down. I did have last night I had the front end up, had the van angled at 3 degrees. The front was tilted up 3 degrees, and the strings were right back to lining up again from the original front end. Grandpa and I hung these strings before we took the old twin I-beam out of this. and centered it with the spindles. Normally this would sit like this right in the center. And then I've got it all lined up along the front there. I've got strings hanging, making sure that the wheels are both centered with each other, front to back. And here's the driver's side. So I know it's supposed to be towed in. I don't know what the rules are on four-wheel drives. I know front-wheel drive or four-wheel drive is different because I believe the wheels, when you step on the gas, the wheels try to go outward, so they're normally towed in a little more. I might have that opposite. Maybe the wheels tow in when you step on the gas. But I guess you can't go wrong with zero, so I've just got it zeroed out. The tow is exactly 0. I'm gonna have this all aligned. I needed to get it closer. It was pulling to the right so bad that I didn't feel comfortable going more than 45 miles an hour. So I'd like to get it up to 60 on my next test run and make sure it goes straight down the road and it doesn't pull either way. And then I can move forward and finish up the gearbox and so forth. And I replaced those seals. Oh, and then I also put limiting straps in, just in case this is ever put up on a lift. You know, I didn't want them ripping my bags in half, so I needed limiting straps. These are supposed to be good for 10,000 pounds. They are pretty thick. I don't know if the ends, the brackets on the ends would handle 10,000 pounds, but this definitely would here. This is some thick stuff. Baja Racing Supply. So I got both of those on. Got one over here too. I already had holes up here that hold the cross member in, bolts that hold the cross member in for the front, and in the rear I had to drill holes. That's that one there. So I'm going to button it back up, put the lockouts back on, the locking hubs, get those put back on, get the wheels put back on, and then pump it up, and then I'll even all the wheels out, put all the spacing between the top of the tire and the wheel well, make all of them equal, all four all the way around. All right, see you another day, because I'm going in after I get done. Peace. This is no hands. Well, it does pretty well, then it starts kind of coming over, but yeah, I would say definite improvement. Before, the wheel was constantly cocked to the left. Brakes are excellent. Brakes are probably the nicest surprise out of everything. I thought that they were going to the floor and that they weren't going to work, but barely touch them. I'm going to see if I can get it. The fastest I've gone so far is 45. I'm going to see how it feels at 55. There's 50. I don't know if it's an overdrive or not. Coming up on 60, 58. Didn't hit 60, I hit 59. Actually feels better at high speed than it does low speed. Left-hand turns are funky. Left-hand turns are fine. The wheel does not self-correct. Left-hand turns are fine. Right-hand turns do something weird, where you get halfway through the turn and then the turn becomes sharper. I don't know what that means. I'm gonna turn the cruise control on. Let's set it at 50. Okay, or maybe 49. Doesn't seem to want to get to 50. There we go. No feet. It's all cruise. Foot on the brake, cancels out. Cruise is working nice. Cruise control. Cruise control would be awesome. Yeah, railroad tracks are not nice. It's really stiff and bouncy. Once I get the air compressor in and the tank, get the lines run and everything, then I'll start experimenting with different pressure levels. It's far as ride quality. Yeah, it's got memory steered. Doesn't do very well at self-correcting. More railroad tracks. Foot to the floor. Doesn't like that. The wind's blowing really bad today. I mean, I'm talking like 40, 50 mile an hour. I wish I could get it to idle and gear better. There's second. Third. Into the wind, straight into the wind. Look at this flag up here, kind of show you. Plus you can hear it. I don't know if it's going into, yeah, it must be going into overdrive. Not against the wind, though. Did I mention power steering? Yeah. Okay. Put her back in the garage and keep moving forward. Well, I got one thing done. I feel like I've been working on this far too long. So I reinforced, this weekend is all about fail safes and redundancy. So this collar here that I made, well, or a clamp maybe, I don't know what to call it. This is 3/16. So this is backing up these bolts that hold this collar together. So if those were to ever snap or something was to happen to those, then this is my backup here, holding all this together. And then I put another brace on the bottom there, and this is getting sandwiched. There's a brace inside the van that runs underneath the dash up to the firewall to stabilize all of this. So I'm tying this in with that. So like I said, just more redundancy, more fail safes. That's what it looks like from the side there. That one right there. So you see how that sits down just a little bit from this plate here. And these bolts go in underneath here, hold all this together. Be curious to see how much this stiffens up with that extra plate underneath there. Yeah, it did. It helped. I still got more bracing to do on the Prius Assist, but this is mostly about the column. This is all about using the steering wheel to climb up inside the van and pulling down. I mean, I don't do that, but I can't assume I'm going to be the only one driving the van. So if somebody uses the steering wheel to pull themselves up into the seat, I don't want it moving. And that definitely helped. I made this little, well, I should start by saying this boot right here is from the 93 Mustang, the junkyard, when I went and got the ECU and the wiring and all that from that junkyard in South Bend. I went ahead and got this too, and this was on the steering column. It's the factory boot for the steering column on a Mustang. Obviously the shape wasn't the same. This, if you can see this underneath, it actually kind of has this kind of shape here. So I'm just using this to cover that long input shaft on the steering gear, and also you know, help with weather, with cold air coming up to my feet, and rain, you know, water and so forth. So what I did was to fix the fact that the shape was wrong on it, I made this little plate here when I was making it yesterday, and I kept trimming it and test fitting it. I kept dropping it down underneath, and I had to fish it out from around the gearbox. I just got some stainless sheet metal screws, because there's metal impregnated inside of this rubber here. So any place you drill through this outer ring right here, you got metal inside of there. So got some stainless sheet screws. These are too long, but okay. So then I've got these other two screws that are gonna suck that up, and then this plate here shares some screws with that one and that one. This is all going to be covered with this plate, by the way. So I've got some rubber. I've got the factory gasket. I've got this factory gasket here, but it's missing a side of it. So that goes on there like that. And the shift linkage, you know, the steering column always went through this hole, but the shift linkage went down through this hole. And I've got leftover rubber strips from the gas tank straps. So I'm going to cut a strip to fill in what I'm missing right here to try to make that airtight, and put something inside of here to fill up this cavity here once I pull this up. Just, you know, try to stop drafts. So I'm gonna do that. Okay, I got that plate done. Then I put some rubber down underneath, just to help block air wherever possible. Now I want to run a support from this bolt right here up to this bolt here. Run a little support, and that is just if this ever loosens up inside of this collar right here, then this brace that I'm gonna do will prevent it from being able to fall down. And then I'm doing another one that's gonna come off of these bolts here and run a rod back to here. And that will keep it from being able to move like this. Which, I mean, it's pretty freaking tight, but so I really got to put my weight into it in order to move it that much. But just redundancy, fail safes. Again, that's the motto this weekend. So I'm gonna do those two braces and get this thing locked in. Oh, and I have to mount. I gotta get this mounted. I bent these tabs back so it'll sit flat underneath there, like this, or up underneath there like this. But I've got to shave these and shape them right so it sits under there, and then I can bolt it in with both of those tabs there. I probably should do that next. So if I want this Prius assist out of the way while I'm doing this, then I don't have to work around this. So that's what I'm going to do next, is drop this down and mount that up there, and then I'm going to do those two supports, and then I can put the steering back together. All right, I'm about done getting ready to wrap this thing up. This is my latest failsafe here. So everything kind of has a theme. So this bar runs back to the firewall there. So that is preventing it from being able to rock. And that bolts up underneath there. So all the fail-safes and redundancy are done. I'm just gonna button it back up Put the steering wheel back on, put the steering column back on, and I think I can actually put the column cover, the cowl, on it also while I'm at it. Got it all put back together. I guess one thing that I didn't think through very well was these wires here. I should have made a way for them to come up like through the center or something to be able to hide them. I mean, I am building something around here to hide all of this. Yeah, so it's really not a big deal, but maybe even bring them up like this. So everything's tight, locked in. This thing does not budge. You could probably hang the van from this steering column now. It is locked. So I'm just getting ready to go for a little drive. Just checking, I had a wheel rubbing before. This wheel right here. There's a bunch of clearance until I start backing out, and maybe it's just the way the van twists or something, but makes an awful noise. It did it before. It's because of the oversized tires. When I bought the van, I was as soon as I was leaving, it was the first thing I noticed. It sounds like something's being ripped off of the van. So hopefully I got that shaved enough. This thing is getting power steering. This thing is getting power brakes. And that is probably shaking like crazy right now.